You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Today on our Weight Loss on Wednesdays show, we're going to get right into it. I've got a great topic today, and it really comes from not just myself, not just from my own practice, but also having really worked with hundreds of other practitioners. You know, again, before I opened my own practice, I had the privilege of hiring over 100 different health and fitness professionals for over, I would say, 20 to 30 different health and fitness facilities in 5 different states in the Northeast and in New York. Well, it was an amazing experience for a couple of things. One is I learned what not to do when I opened my own practice, meaning like you don't treat people, especially your own people on your own team, as a number. And that's what I saw a lot in the corporate-based environment. I thought that was terrible because the people on your team are literally, they are the face of your business. They are the people implementing the plan that you have designed. And they are, passionate people about what they do. And that was the problem. A lot of these business owners, they weren't really into health. They weren't really into fitness. They weren't really into nutrition. They just saw everything as a big number. So I was a great, again, some of my biggest takeaways sometimes from doing internships, residencies, all those different types of things. Like you want to learn what works, but you also want to learn what doesn't work and what you absolutely don't want to do in your own practice. And sitting side by side with doctors while I was interning, watching them practice medicine, I got to learn so many, fantastic things, not only about how they practice, about medicine in general, but also, I could watch the patient. And when I watched the patient, I got to see the feedback, kind of like, I'm not psychic or anything. I'm not saying that. Intuitively, I can kind of like feel what the person feels like as there's this conversation going back, and I can start to see that person either like draw into what the doctor's saying or kind of push away. And again, what I realized was it's different for different people, right? Because we come from all different walks of life. And so you have to treat everyone as an individual. And that was my biggest takeaway is, it takes a little while to open up. And that's why I won't do an initial consultation that's less than 60 minutes. And I want to hear their story. I want to see where they came from, what they've struggled with, what they've tried, some of the victories that they might have had, because only at that point can then I understand the person right there. Who am I working with? And also if it's a child in my practice as well, like what's their personality as a child? I like to know that. A lot of times I get to meet with them or I get to see them over Skype, and just a little bit of interaction gets me to know that person and know, because again, it's the same plan in the end, right? But like, how do I get them there? How do I tailor it a little bit more for them? So let me get back on track here today. So this is a really big thing. And it actually, all of that I just said does have to do with today's show. Again, it's truly a follow-up from last Monday when I talked about you haven't tried everything. So many people come into my practice and they say, you know what, I've tried everything for weight loss, or I've tried everything to boost my energy, boost my digestion, all these different things, and nothing works. So if you hadn't checked out that show, highly recommend it. It was one of my favorites. That was episode 296. So just stephencabral.com/296. But I want to do a little follow-up today. So on 296, it was the psychology. Like that was the true psychology of why you really are just getting started when you believe that you tried everything. But when you're just getting started, the breakthrough could happen in the next 3 weeks. Like you're that close, and you absolutely can't give up. So I'm not going to ruin that show. Check that out if you didn't check it out last week. But today, what I want to talk about on today's show is, here's the deal. So you've tried a lot of different weight loss plans. You've read some books. You're the most popular ones, and you see that there's a lot of 5-star ratings, or your friend used it and they got good results, or there was focus groups and the focus groups got great results and you didn't, so I'm going to give a couple like clear-cut examples. I'm not really talking about my practice too much. Everything we do is like really, like custom tailored and those types of things. So like we're able to help people at a different level, but I want to talk about just from like reading a book, following a plan, or even doing the Dr. Cabral detox. Like we'll just kind of put those together, right? So For the Dr. Cabral detox, for example, when you're doing that, you are getting this 7-day or 14-day or 21-day, and the average results. So again, I've been using this particular format for 4 years. So a lot of data, right? Thousands. And now when we did our focus group a couple years back and we wanted to test out the product, and we did 4 different focus groups. So here's the unique thing about the human body and physiology is that our average weight, so previously when we were using a product, average weight loss was about 5 pounds, maybe like 5.1, okay? And then I custom manufactured my own to be 3 times the potency, also use pure ingredients because that's important because, again, this was for my own body, my family, and everyone that works in my practice. And then because of the potency, because of how I custom tailor things, because of all the research that I had, the average weight loss was now 7.2 pounds. That's our average weight loss in 7 days. When you do the Dr. Cabral detox for 7 days, typical weight loss is 5 to 10 pounds in that first week. After 14 days, it's 10 plus pounds. And after the 21-day detox, it's 15 plus pounds is the average weight loss. Again, a lot of people don't do it for weight loss. They do it for health, and you don't have to lose the weight. We can, we change things a little bit for them. But now keep in mind, during that first 7 days, we'll just talk about that right now. Some people lost 3 pounds or so. Some people lost 11 pounds. The median was somewhere around 7 pounds, about a pound per day. Like that's the average, somewhere around that 7 pounds. In order to get to 7.2 pounds, which is our average in the 7 days, and again, this is real weight that you lose because you're dropping inflammation. You're regulating blood sugar. You're reducing your body's dependence on certain foods. And again, I can get into that another time. You have to keep in mind that in order for us to get to the 7.2 pounds, we had people lose 11. Some people only lost 3. Now, you typically lose at least that. But here's the thing. Why would some people only lose 3 when the average is 7.2? The reason is this, is when you go on any type of like functional medicine, true solid elimination-based diets, and you're using these really powerful functional medicine-based nutritional supplements, but we won't really talk about that because the Dr. Cabral detox is not, it's not a diet book. That's not what it is. When you want to get down to the physiology, it's a liver detox. It's a liver cleanse. You're giving your body phase 1, phase 2 nutrients to help it clean the blood, to work on a process called autophagy, which literally eats up proteins in your blood, which eats up cancer cells, which eats up bacteria, which helps boost the immune system, literally cleanse the body, cleanse the blood, dramatically drops inflammation levels because of the food choices as well on it. So it does a whole lot more. It's not a diet book, but so some people could lose 3 pounds in the first 2 days or 2, especially when they're doing the liquid-based shakes for those days. But if you're back to day 5 and 6 and you gain weight back like more than even half a pound, you have to look at overall, your body is so sensitive to some of the foods that you're putting in, even the purest ones, that there's some digestive issues going on. The only other explanation is hormonal. And so I'm going to talk about both of those today because you need to know this. Like this information is not available really in books. It's not available on like a typical article you're going to read online because that's surface level. They just want to market to you and give you the gimmicks. I'm just giving you the truth. Some people can hear what I say and like, oh, I'll never do that or I will. Like that's totally up to you. It's your perspective. I'm here to give you the truth. And so if you're doing a good quality, let's call it elimination diet or a detox or something like that. And let's say a friend did it, someone did it, and they lost, the average of 5 to 10 pounds, and you lost 3. Well, why is that? Why would that be? And here's the thing. We see it all the time. If you're starting to put food back into your diet on day 3, on day 4, or however you're doing it for your elimination diet, and your body's kind of ballooning up, and you're eating good quality whole food, well, you either have a food sensitivity or you have a digestive-based issue. And the foods that you're eating are inflaming your gut, which is causing you to gain water weight. That's the bottom line. Like that is truly the bottom line because you're not packing on 2, 3, 4 pounds of body fat. Like that's absolutely not the case. So if your body's not losing through a good intermittent fast where you're using a liquid-based nutrition plan, if you're not losing that, then it's a metabolic-based issue. But if you're losing on that and then you start to gain some back and you're not losing any more, you're most likely dealing with a true food sensitivity or gut-based issue where you can't eat food with there being an inflammatory-based reaction. And I've seen it. This is not common, but my podcast is not for the common thinker as well. And I know that you're not the common thinker. So if you're listening to this, I know that you're a cut above. You're a little bit more advanced. You're not looking for the surface level. And I want to tell you that there is not going to be anything to help you until you shore up that gut. Now, that is not to discourage you at all. That's a good thing because remember, just like in that podcast, remember, go back to 296. You haven't tried everything. Doing things like the Dr. Ball detox, or doing things like, again, insert your favorite detox. You don't have to do the Dr. Ball detox. It's just insert whatever you'd like. That's totally fine with me. Pick your favorite functional medicine guru, whoever, do their program. See how it works. If it worked, you got the same results as everyone else, then great. You're pretty much balanced. You are a balanced human being, and you can lose the weight by following the plan. But if you don't get those results, it's not the guru's fault or whoever their product is. Your body's not reacting properly to it. Because a lot of these, like, there's no secrets, you are eliminating a lot of the processed foods, right? Absolutely. So you decrease in inflammation, you're better regulating blood sugar, all these great things, right? And what ours does, it puts in the nutritional supplements that your body needs so that you don't have Herxheimer reactions, you don't have die-off, so that you just kind of go through it and your body's getting so much healthier. But again, if you have a rebound, you're looking at an inflammatory-based reaction. So that doesn't mean you need more turmeric. You don't have a turmeric deficiency. You don't have a coconut oil deficiency. What you have is a digestive-based issue. Now, the other big part is if you just don't lose the weight, like let's say you just can't take the weight off, you're looking at more of a hormonal-based issue. And again, this is more common, more prevalent in women. I haven't really seen guys have this issue, but it's mainly in women. So what happens is you're looking a lot of times at an estrogen dominance-based issue, meaning more estrogen than progesterone in the body, especially during the luteal phase of your cycle, or let's just say the last 5 to 7 days before menstruation. And that is leading to bloating, that's leading to irritability, that's leading to brain fog, that's leading to weight gain, it's leading to acne, it's leading to all the things that you don't want, right? So what we have to do is we have to rebalance the body. We need to work on the adrenal glands as well, which also affect the thyroid. So we're looking at the adrenals, we're looking at the thyroid, and then we're looking at those things causing the disruption in estrogen and progesterone. So it doesn't mean that you need to load up on estrogen or progesterone, ideally never estrogen. So what it means, though, is you really need to take care of balancing the body from an adrenal HPA axis. So calm down the nervous system, calm down the body, repair your gut. That will also help with the thyroid as well. And then you will go back to losing weight. So part of this got me thinking, and again, I don't want to make this too long a show, so I'm going to start to wrap up now, is my wife got me into this new show, or at least new to us. So the show's name is This Is Us. And it's a pretty popular show, so probably a lot of people have heard about it, by now. But there's a character on it, and her name is Kate. And she's part of a weight loss group, kind of like a Weight Watchers type group. Or so her boyfriend in it lost like 8 pounds in 1 week, and she lost, or 2 weeks, and she lost like 1.5 pounds. And I work with people just like her in my practice. And so when you're looking at this specific thing, like every time I see the show, so I can't take the naturopathic doctor out of me. When I see the show and I know that she's struggling, and again, I know it's just a character on her show, I know, but I see people just like her in my practice and I so badly want to help them. What I show them is that, again, you're not looking at a calories in versus calories out based issue. That's not what this is about. That's not what Dr. Ball Detox is about either. What you're looking at about in these special cases is a true metabolic dysfunction. Again, I'm going to talk more about that in the future, but it starts with really the hormones. It starts with rebalancing the body, and it starts with your body's need to keep storing all this body fat and not allowing it to go. And again, when it's in that survival based mode, when the metabolism's really been dropped because of that survival based state, you're not going to be able to take that weight off. So you have to understand is that what I like people to do is I say, what have you tried? And so they tell me about all these different diet plans, and I say, okay, what worked and what didn't work? And then I get to extrapolate information from that and understand like, okay, well, you started to get those results and then this happened. So again, when you're using any nutrition-based plan, when you're using any of those things, go back to those previous episodes that I was just talking about. Look at it all as a learning-based experience. When a diet plan doesn't work for you, but it's been proven to work for 8 out of 10 people, 9 out of 10 people, and you're just kind of like that one person who loses a little less than everybody else or doesn't lose at all, you want to look at then why. What is it doing specifically? Because if it's already taken out the processed carbs, if it's already taken out a lot of these things, doing more of that is not going to work for you, right? You need another solution. So what I want to say is that there is hope that things like a elimination diet, like a good quality, low inflammatory diet, a low processed food diet, high in vegetables, all of these things are great for you. Detoxes are great for you. Drinking fresh vegetable-based juice is good for you. But if you're not losing the weight from that, those things are still good for you, right? They're still good for you. But what you need to do now is take that to the next level. And it's not unfortunate. We all go through our own thing, right? That's the thing. Like, some people struggle with weight. Some people struggle with autoimmune-based issues. Some people struggle with mental roadblocks as well. And they struggle with things like, again, obsessive compulsive disorder, anxiety, panic attacks. Maybe you don't have those things. So again, we all have our own thing. And so this isn't the end of the world. There is absolute hope. You just have to look to that next level. And the next level for you is looking at digestive-based dysfunction, especially if you feel bloated after meals, is a good sign that there's some inflammation going on. You're going to hold on to weight, or there's a hormonal-based issue. And you want to start to look at something like our weight loss test. And again, if you don't want to do it through us, no problem at all, but we're here to help. That's the bottom line. So if you just go to StephenCabral.com and you look at the weight loss test, you'll at least see what we test for, right? And you'll see how we test for thyroid, we test for cortisol, we test for vitamin D, we test for blood sugar, we're testing for all these great things that then are the underlying root causes of why someone can't lose weight. It's that roadblock, the progesterone, the estrogen. The weight loss test looks at all of that. It's a phenomenal base test. But what I want you to do is simply look at that, start to do 3 or 4 different plans and see how they work for you and see how you fare. And then after that, you can then take it to the next level only if needed. Because again, always start with simpler. Simpler is best. If simple works, great. If not, then you have another step that you can take. So hopefully this helps. I know I probably caused more questions than answers, but remember, every weekend for at least, I'd say, 6 to 8 questions I answer every single weekend. So if you have a question, feel free to let me know. I answer them absolutely complimentary. Just go to StephenCabral.com/Ask Cabral. The question has to go through that website. If you email us, it gets lost in the shuffle. Just go right to that webpage. Feel free to ask your question. I absolutely will answer it for you. Have a great day, everyone. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.